key to us here is that gunfire and the sound of the fighting at Le Cateau would have been heard by Sir Douglas Haig and one corps that are further over to the east, and it's to them we go to now. Now you can see that routing that Haig would have took, and it's a lot more complicated. It crosses canals, it goes through villages, there are railway lines that cut across it, and there's also the odd foray into the woods. Now, whilst there has been a few little skirmishes, mainly with French territorials who they don't recognise each other at this stage of the war and things, there's a few instances like that, Haig is intent on resting that evening in the town of Landrecies. He sends the Connaught Rangers, they head out to the east at Le Grand Fayette, and they get involved in an important action there. And he also sends the Coldstream Guards, who will play a role at Etreux, across the canal, up some high ground and onto the crossroads, which lead back towards Le Cateau and also to the edge of the Forest of Mormal. And it's on this spot, it's worth just mentioning this little action here briefly. Just in front of us there on that road on the right-hand side of the screen, a barricade is put across. Men of the Coldstream Guards are picketed it at the time. The archway that you can see is actually the original archway of the farm that's behind us, and it's been moved now, widened for modern necessity, and a little plaque to the Coldstreams put up there. But this is the farm. Imagine these guys resting there, braziers lit. They would have been trying to get their heads down there, exhausted as well. Officers sort of managing to get their head down if they can, every now and again checking on the men. And it's while all this inactivity is taking place and Haig's settling down for an evening, and I should say he's suffering at this time as well of what we would know as the Gallipoli trots, to put it mildly. He's not expecting anything too bad. And sure enough, it's not long before wagons are heard approaching down the road from the distance there, coming out of the Mormal Forest. And carried on the wind the song of the Marseillaise. Now, we all know the French national anthem, don't intend to insult it by singing it now for you. Quite rightly, the Coldstreamers would assume that this is a French unit making their way back in towards Landrecies. They're not whereabout. Actually, it is the field kitchens of one of von Kluck or maybe Karl von Bülow's German spearhead units, because they have also decided they are going to spend the night in Landrecies as well, and they've sent the food forward, not expecting to run into any Brits at this stage. It's not a ruse to confuse the Coldstreamers. They're singing this Marseillaise because they like the song. We all do. We all like the tune. And as they get closer and they're challenged, the officer in command realises, blimey, it's some Brits. He tries to walk forward as quickly as he can, or as not suspiciously as he can, manages to grab the end of a Maxim, run it up at the road, leaves it in the road, and then a firefight breaks out, and we see all chaos. And just looking at that farm again behind us, you can imagine men tipping out of this gate here with doing their webbing up, picking up their rifles, tripping over boots. What's going on? Shout, shout, shout. Sending runners back in Landrecies. In Landrecies, Haig can now hear firing. What's going on? Panic ensues there, and they try and get men up as soon as they can into the fight. But Haig's starting to say, right, let's get out of here. It's not long before what is the equivalent of the German army catering corps is outgunned by these professional soldiers, especially the Coldstream Guards. One hero in particular, a chap called George Wyatt, he manages to go out, and when the actual barricade is set alight, he stomps on the fire, putting out the fire, and in full view of the enemy, he is wounded. And then for the second time, a few weeks later, at the Forest of Villers-Cotterêts, is wounded again, and it's for those actions that he's awarded the Victoria Cross.